Welcome back, everyone. Mix 1041. We're on mixtv.tv, and it's Allon Planning Partners. We have Jay Hagee, Tanner Hortzmeyer. Guys, how are you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
We're doing wonderful, Steve. How are you today?
I'm okay.
Awesome.
It is great to see you both. And, Jay, we're really enjoying your show, that your 1 hour show that you air. And recently, you hit a couple of questions that I want to talk about today. And one of those is common mistakes that people make when they're planning for retirement, assuming they have a plan.
That they are planning for retirement, right?
Yeah.
But, and that's probably one of the most common mistakes is people aren't planning enough for retirement. And we try to, square that away with everyone that we meet with to make sure that you do have what's called a holistic or a comprehensive plan, that it covers all five components of a financial plan, which a lot of times when you're meeting with someone about your investments, you may only talk about allocation strategies and investment strategies and things like this. But there's also income planning, like how am I going to get to these buckets of money when I retire? How am I going to appropriately use them? You have tax planning. If you're not working with a CPA, we have one in our office, but we like to connect with whoever's CPA, whichever CPA that you use, to make sure that we aren't going against each other's plan, because we want to pay Uncle Sam his fair share, but nothing more.
Well,
right?
Exactly.
And so you have to make sure that you have a good estate plan. We have estate law planning attorneys that take a look at your wills and or your trust if you have one, and your power of attorney documents. You want to make sure that you have a healthcare plan as well. So if you have every one of those five components, then you really have a holistic plan. But there are some common errors that I see folks making, especially when it comes to the investment portion. A lot of times you get close to retirement and you don't realize that you're maintaining a higher risk tolerance, that you're maintaining, and that, you feel it in the last year, right? In the last year when the market's going crazy, you feel those equities kind of dropping. But a lot of times folks don't really know how much risk that they are taking. But you really need to make sure the closer that you're getting to retirement that you are keeping an eye on how much risk you're taking, because you lose time horizon or the amount of time that you have to make up those gains back. And so we want to make sure, number one, that Warren Buffett's rule is used.
You don't lose money.
That's right.
And it's funny, his second rule is refer back to rule number one.
That's right. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at investment management, especially if you're in that red zone of 5 years or so left to retirement, or you're in retirement and you're feeling a little bit too much volatility, or you're feeling worried about, man, my investments are losing here, that you actually take a look at how you're invested, because we can't control the economy. As much as I would love to and love to control what's going on there in Washington, we can't control that. But we can control how our clients are positioned, and how they're positioned is going to be ultimately what gets them to their goals.
Yeah, especially kind of what he was talking about, controlling what we can control. We can control, the amount of risk that they are exposed to in the market. And like Jay was saying, a lot of times people are just kind of going about their life and going about their investment journey or their retirement journey, and they don't necessarily feel the pain of a down market until we're in a down market. And they're like, oh my goodness, I just lost, 25% of my portfolio. And we saw it in 2008. We saw it even in 2022, where people had way more drawdown in their portfolio because of the risk that they were taking.
And they didn't even know.
And they didn't even know. And they were having to make, altering life decisions, maybe going back to work or whatever that may be, because they were taking more risk than they had assumed that they were taking. And so we are able to do, diagnostics on their portfolio to say, hey, here's actually what's going on under the hood of your accounts, what's going on under the hood of your portfolio, and actually generate a overview as to what type of risks they are taking.
We're joined by Jay Hagee, Tanner Hortzmeyer, Allon Planning Partners. And here's as we've known each other for several months now, and that nearly a year now.
That's right.
That is, seems like longer. That is the personalization. You literally, you don't have some cookie cutter plan for everybody that comes in. You like to sit down, talk with them, Jay, and then go from there.
It's very individualistic. When someone comes in, everyone has different levels of assets. Everyone has different goals and desires. Some folks are already retired and trying to make sure that they continue living the lifestyle that they're living until they die, and I want to make sure that happens. But then you have some folks come in on the other end of the spectrum and haven't even started planning for retirement yet. Yeah. So we have to take baby steps to get them to the right place. But it's very individualistic because we care about how our clients get to their goals ultimately. Everybody's going to have different goals, and there's going to be different ways in which we get them there. But yes, we don't have a cookie cutter strategy. If you come in, we don't already have something ready to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to give you a service, and that service is financial planning, to make sure that you have a comprehensive, like I mentioned, a holistic plan that covers more than just your investment management, but ultimately goal-based. How am I going to make sure that the number one fear doesn't come true, that I do not run out of money in my lifetime, and that I actually get to enjoy it, right? Because a lot of people are just like, man, I just want to survive, and are white knuckling and holding on, and we don't want that either. We want you to have a sleep well at night plan. We call it the SWAN plan. We want to make sure that you're sleeping well at night, that you know that your goals are going to be reached, and that you have an individualistic plan to get there.
I like that. It's Jay Hagee and Tanner Hortsmeyer, Allon Planning Partners. All right, Jay, how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach out directly to our office, 423-315-1441. That's 423-315-1441, or allonplanning.com, ALLON planning.com. And you can schedule a complimentary consultation right there on our website if you'd like to. It links right to my calendar, so you can connect right with me, or Tanner's calendar as well. We would love to sit down and chat with you.
You have a calendar, Tanner?
Yeah.
I do have a calendar.
A little surprising.
A little surprising. But yeah, we would love to connect with you and your family and give you an individualized approach to financial planning.
It's Allon Planning Partners, Jay Hagee, Tanner Hortsmeyer. Again, allonplanning.com or 423-315-1441.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, Foundations, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. All rights reserved.